I don't want to just make clickbait viral videos to get views. I want to make something real. You know, I can't leave a legacy if I don't proceed with integrity. I don't want to be the funny guy or the spiritual guy. I just want to be Guy. I'm going to get real or die trying. If I put myself into a spiritual box, I'm developing an ego with spirituality rather than just being truthfully myself as Tian Tan that just happens to do spirituality. I don't want to be in a box, man. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly. Hi, my name is Tian Tan. I am 33 years old, Chinese, raised in New Zealand. I'm currently in Da Nang, Vietnam, where I'm trying to make it as a content creator. I've actually been making content since 2009. Back then, I really wanted to be an actor. I still do, actually. And I didn't know how to sort of break into the acting industry, but back then, YouTubers were sort of starting to become a thing, you know, with like Nigahiga and Kim Jumper and people like that. So I thought, at the very least, what I could do is start making videos just to get practice, you know, in front of a camera doing something, right? Boom! So that was sort of like the start of my content creation journey. I started with comedy videos because that's what I kind of saw people were doing, and I like comedy and I wanted to make funny stuff. It didn't do very well, and I got kind of discouraged actually from like putting so much effort into like making videos and editing YouTube videos. And it wasn't until Vine came around where like the pressure to make was so low. Like you just had to make a 6-second video and you couldn't edit, right? It was just like so pure and so raw that it inspired me again to make videos again. So when Vine came about, I made some Vines. But because I was living in New Zealand and no one used Twitter, posting on Vine wasn't really gonna get anywhere. So what I did was I made the Vines, but I posted it onto Facebook. And back then, that was sort of like a golden era of posting on Facebook. Whoa! And that took off really well, actually. I got viral a few times before going on a dating show, and then a clip from that went really viral. That really took off, and I sort of had a run, I suppose, or I had some success as a content creator for a little bit, and I thought, oh, maybe this is sort of like where I take off, and I'm just gonna do this full time for the rest of my life from now on. But I could feel like as I was doing it, even though I sort of reached my goals of like getting followers and likes and attention and stuff like that, I could feel like the content I was making wasn't actually genuinely the kind of content I wanted to leave a legacy with, I suppose. Comedy was just an experiment for me to see if I can make it as a comedian, making comedy skits and things like that. And when I sort of succeeded, and at a certain point, I even won an award for it in New Zealand, I was kind of like, oh, the gig's up. Like, you know, you fooled the masses. Like, you've played this part. Now you actually need to start doing it for real. Like, you know how to get the fame, you know how to go viral, but like, you know that this isn't actually true for you. Rather than being authentic and sort of like being an example of what I believe a content creator really should be, or any famous person, in fact, I sort of was playing into the everyday, like trying to get fame and money type of content creator, you know, trying to get attention to profit from. And I really didn't like that, actually. At a certain point, I had a, you know, a very conflicting moral conscience battle happening inside of me. And I felt like, okay, I have to I have to stop and pivot. Like I had my run, my the experiment is over, I did it, but now I need to get real. I don't want to just make clickbait viral videos to get views. I want to make something real. You know, I can't leave a legacy if I don't proceed with integrity. Like even if I get famous, that fame and that legacy I might get from that is gonna be bullshit. It's not gonna be authentic. And like it's not fun for me unless it's real. Like sure you can take shortcuts, get famous with bullshit. But even if you succeed, even if I succeed like that, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like I've actually done it, done what I came into this life to do. So I needed to reevaluate. And around that time, I was going through a lot of like personal shit and toxic relationships and stuff like that. That like, I know, I just felt like it was like a complete sort of like Saturn return, sort of like life changing moment where I was like, okay, I need to move on to another phase of my life. I felt like actually for a long time, I wanted to be like a personality account, a personality brand, like not known just for making like comedy videos or spiritual videos. Like I don't want to be I don't want to be that comedy guy. I don't want to be the funny guy or the spiritual guy. I just want to be Guy. God damn, I just want to be Guy. I just want to be me. But I think for a long time, I felt like unless I like was proficient in a niche and was known for a niche, it's like I didn't have anything to offer. Like me as a person as a whole, and my balls grounded in my skin wasn't enough. That I had to do extra shit to prove myself. And then once I've proven myself, then I have the audacity, the authority, the validation, the permission to actually be who I am. But then it's like, no, that's so fucking backwards. It's like no matter if you succeed, doing comedy or spirituality, like if you put yourself into a niche, into a box, and you succeed with that, with a mask, with a persona, then like for the rest of your life, you gotta keep that persona up. And if you don't want to play the persona game and you want to be real, then you have to take off the mask and show your true power. Show your true self. Your real power lies beneath the mask. Persona. I felt like I needed to develop a mask to gain the confidence to be myself. And I guess it helped that, no, I mean, actually that did help. But ultimately, you still have to take off the mask and just like embrace the world as yourself, fully naked. And then like build your confidence from that naked truth bit by bit. Be a naked hero. Hadaka no yusha. Chikara ga. I feel like that's the only way to truly get to your potential, your final form, your absolute realization of you. I want to get paid to exist. I do. But you can only get paid to exist as you, as your authentic self. Like, if you bullshit, then you have to do bullshit things to sustain the bullshit lifestyle. But if you can genuinely be yourself, you can just exist as that. And it's not like you're just gonna be lazy and do nothing. Like, that's not what that means. It means you get to do what you genuinely want to do and fully like embrace and express yourself into the world. That's what I want to do, but I haven't been because I've been afraid to really let out who I am in case no one gave a shit. In case people didn't like me, in case like I really wasn't entertaining without a gimmick, Like I want to succeed with no gimmicks. I want to be real. I don't want to use any gimmicks to be real. I want to be 100% authentic and succeed like that. Like otherwise it's not fun for me. Like any sort of like fabrication, like even if it's 90% real, there's always going to be 10% I feel like I wish I had done before I died, So before I die, I'm going to get real or die trying. I truly believe if you can actually show up as your full authentic self and get paid to exist, like it's not just like a way to be like, oh, I don't want to put in any hard work and I don't want to like contribute to society. It's like, no, chigaimasu. That's actually the best way, the most contributive you can be to society. Like you have to, like showing up as your full, ultimate, powerful self, like that energy that you can release from that point into the fucking world. Like that's what's gonna get impact. That's what's gonna help people in the world. So, that's what I want to do. Like pull a Jesus, basically, but better, exceed Jesus. Because I feel like that's what he did. He was a legitimate dude, like the only legitimate dude around, or maybe like Buddha and stuff like that. Of course. But I feel like the realer you are, the closer to God you get, and the more divine and like powerful your energy just emanates. So, whether you want to call it a spiritual journey or not, I feel like being real and authentic is like the ultimate path to like absolute goathood. To be the greatest goat of all time. And then you you open like infinite possibilities to make money, right? You know, and instead of confining yourself into like a small, shriveled up version of you that you feel like, oh, I have to do all these like shitty little things to get money to survive. Like, otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to support myself. And if I just do what I want, I'm just an entitled little, entitled little like nepo child or something that like that doesn't know how to do anything real or take responsibility for. It's like no, showing up as your authentic self will literally produce the best work into the world. So I wrote a book, God Game, and it's like a culmination of how I think and my philosophy. That like my plan was to like sell that into the world and make money and survive from that. But now I realize like that was again me like trying to put myself into this like spiritual box because I know I sort of had some success with that. And even though like spirituality is like sits probably the closest to my soul, and I genuinely enjoy making spiritual content, I feel like even so, if I put myself into a spiritual box, I'm developing an ego with spirituality rather than just being truthfully myself as Tian Tan that just happens to do spirituality. Like, that is a big key difference that I think we need to acknowledge. Otherwise, you lose yourself, you lose your shit in trying to like fabricate this mask that you try and sell into the world, you know? Whoa. So rather than trying to like force myself and push myself to sell the book because like that's my only way my mind can perceive to maybe have the highest chance to make money and survive. It's like, no, that's like, well, if you want to sell the book, sell the book. If that's an authentic expression of really who you are. But if there are other ways that you want to genuinely express yourself, then god damn, you gotta do it. You gotta do that way. You know? And that's gonna open the quantum portal into like infinite possibilities for you to make money and make your ends meet and make everything else work. So that's what I'm gonna do now anyway. So I will still make spiritual content, but going forward, I no longer want to niche myself basically into any category. I want to start making content of everything I want to make, whether it's like spirituality or it's comedy or it's acting or it's music. I love music or language or um, anime, video games, my travel stories. Like, I've been through so much shit the past few years. Like, moved across so many different fucking countries. Like, swear to God, like, moved house like every 2 months, like the past few years. Like, so many stories and things I want to share into the world. Like, that I want to now, but I haven't. I prevented myself from sharing it because I felt like it didn't fit into a fucking niche. So I'm like, into my niche. So like, oh, it's gonna screw up the algorithm and people aren't gonna follow you. But then it's like, well, fuck it. Who cares? At this point, like even if that is true, it's like I don't want people to just I don't want myself to just have success because I imprison myself, Like it's not a fun success. It's not a real success. So now I want to share everything on this page. Astrology, Myers-Briggs, personality theory, Jungian psychology, like all the shit I'm into. Like a lot of it is still going to be spirituality because I genuinely like spirituality. But then there are a lot of things I genuinely also like that I haven't really shared. And I feel like maybe spirituality right now is like 30-40% of me, if that, right? But then there's like 60-70% that I haven't shared that I feel like I ought to. Like if anything, I just want to share everything. I want to completely excavate my heart and give that to the world. I don't want to hide anymore. I want to be me. I got into spiritual content because I genuinely found it really interesting and meaningful. Like it was like the perfect counterbalance to my like superficial comedy, right? Like comedy is very light and like light and fun, and spirituality can be quite heavy and serious and real, right? And I wanted both. Like I wanted to balance my self out, I suppose. And like now I feel like I've done so much spirituality the past 6 years. I've gotten to a point again where I'm like, I think I don't have to be so serious anymore. And my whole God Game book is about this idea of like, life is a game and don't take it so seriously. Otherwise you cockblock yourself in God. So, you know, like even though spirituality was really genuine and I felt like what I shared was meaningful to the world, now I feel like I need to like, I've completed both parts, actually. I finished light magic and I finished heavy magic, I suppose, or dark, yeah, I don't wanna say dark magic, but, like, heavy magic, and now it's like, boom, whoo, now I wanna release myself into the world and just be me, as the completion of the Philosopher's Stone. You might think like all of these interests that I have and these like different types of content that I want to post, it seems so like random maybe and like arbitrary, but it's not. Like honestly, like I feel like everything I'm interested in, as me, as Tian Tan in this life, I feel like they all connect back to one fundamental um source, and that source is magic. I want to revive magic into this world. That's one dream I have in this life. I want to realize fantasy. I want to become real fantasy. You might think that's a bit crazy, or what do you even mean by that? But I literally mean, like, I think back then, like a really long time ago, we lived in a very magical world that, in fact, it got too magical and too woo-woo that shit started hitting the fan and it got too chaotic. So in order to counter that and to stabilize ourselves, basically it was too unstable, right? I think it was too feminine. So in order to counteract that, we had to make things more masculine, more controlled, more solid. And that's the society we exist in today, right? Everything is very yeah, I mean it's a very masculine sort of society that we live in right now on Earth, right? Everything is like rectangular. Like you look at the architecture, it's very like blocky. Like all the rooms are blocks. Like everything is just sort of like, "Ugh, I'm a man," and everything is hard to control and contain, right? And it's like I think we needed to do that to like sort of like temper ourselves and have a semblance of solidity, right? Because like imagine if everything was like a dream, then like shit can phase in and out of reality so quick to the point where like reality feels meaningless in a way, right? Like it's just you're just fucking glitching out all the time. That's what it feels like. So we create a solidity to stabilize ourselves. But now I feel like we've done it too much. Like we've overcompensated and we've made reality too solid and too grounded in a way that it's like breaking our fucking balls. Like we've squeezed the magic out of life to maintain balance, to maintain control. But now if we keep continuing the way we are with like the pure masculine like AI technology route, and we don't bring in like the feminine feeling like biological route, like the magic within ourselves without the reliance of needing technology to do everything, and realize our genuine true potential as human beings, as like the biological organism of a human being, right? Not just through technology. Like unless we do that, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. We'll drive ourselves into ruin if we don't bring back magic. If we don't bring back the feminine aspect of the world, like it's too skewed into the masculine. And unless we balance out, we will eventually kill ourselves again. And this time it will be because we were being too masculine, not too feminine. But regardless, the result will be the same. We will die. We will wipe ourselves out. Well, real fantasy is what I call my dream. Is one of my dreams that I want to realize in this world. To revive magic, but also be like a living, breathing example of magic, of real fantasy, of like being able to truly live through your heart and not only make it work, but make it work more than any other method available. From here onwards, my content is going to be very diverse and very chaotic. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and just be me and see if it really works out. And if it doesn't, then I suppose, that's, I gave it a shot and it wasn't my time. But, until I really try, I feel like I haven't really lived. And I want people to love life. I want people to love Earth just the way I have. Even though I've suffered so much and been through so much pain, I feel like, well, I feel so happy to be on Earth. And I feel like people often times than not take it too seriously and they don't get to love Earth and love life the way I do. And it's such a shame because you don't realize how good you have it. And then the more you understand the soul, the more you know how to like express that soul in its full potential. And what is that if not magic? Like that is truly living through the heart and through your intuition and through the divine. And if you know yourself at a deep, deep level, whether you use, whatever system you want to get to know yourself, like as long as you can get to that point and express yourself, like that is releasing magic into this world, through the heart chakra. I think genuinely when you live through your heart, that's actually when you create magic into the world. That's when you bring magic into the world. It's through the heart.